Welcome back to Port Macquarie Regional Stadium for this men's 20s division here between the Newcastle Knights and Central Coast Dolphins, and Newcastle in the traditional blue and red strip get first use of the ball. James Preston and Mark Tipple, former Australian representative and current men's Premier League assistant coach for the Central Coast Dolphins, joining me in commentary. Mark will have a little word from you in just a moment as we get a little break and play here. But Mark, welcome to the coverage.
Thank you, James. Good to be here, and decent conditions for day 2 here at New South Wales State Cup.
Yeah, the sun is out in force, and you know what that means. Sun's out, buns out, baby. We are in a beach town, so it's all going to happen as the Central Coast Dolphins crab from right to left with Coughlin. An option back through the middle here, and they get the quick roll ball too to keep probing up through that central passage. Playster. Here he is now out of acting half. Playster, short ball. They've worked an overlap here. Oh, good coverage though. Still play on for now. Playster with the big goose step. Denon Kemp would love that. Pops the ball around the sideline. And unfortunately, there is nowhere else to go as we have a quick little change in commentary here. Nathan Loveday jumping in.
And we've got a 6 again there for Central Coast. Sebi Playster, number 66. He's a real go-to for the young Dolphins team. He'll be coordinating everything going on here as he gets... Oh, he's going to sweep around. Jesse Walker on the dump. The little C1 play, and Sebastian Playster, as we said, number 66. He's a go-to for them. Gets the sweeper dive outside the link on Newcastle for Central Coast 20s to go 1-0 up as Nathan Loveday joins me in the commentary box. Nath, were you waiting for me downstairs? Hopefully not.
No, I wasn't waiting for you. I was dealing with a couple of matters that we won't go into, so that's all sorted now. So, yeah, we're here. It's been a nice morning. It was raining when I first got here this morning, but we've had a sunshine, and we're getting every season here with Central Coast taking the early lead, as you mentioned. So Newcastle get the right to reply. They run the Rooster play out the back with that lead, and the referee, Clint Aplett, awards a penalty to the Knights, and they'll go again. I'll tell you what, underestimate the amount of stairs you've got on the way up when you're at full tilt. As they go the link quickie, and we'll go for the line. He steps up and hasn't been caught offside, and Nate Simpson is touch with the ball, and they'll continue this attack on the Central Coast line, and they'll go that far link. They'll go the Cindy play and looking for the dive, and 67 makes the touch. Good little touch from Jesse Walker. And Central Coast will be hoping to get this stop, and they're defending well so far. No breaks in the line. They'll go the sweep again in the middle. It's ball down. It's a good call. Referee Aplett all over that one. And the Dolphins, this young side, the young club, their men's opens are flying at the moment, and we'll give that most of the reason for that is the man sitting on my right, and I'll pick it up and keep moving the Dolphins here, and middle play, and he steps. He gets through, and there's some space over the top, and they're going to score in the corner. It's Charlie Walkerton. And he extends the lead for the Coast, and a little bit of footwork there, Mark, and a little bit of speed as well.
Yeah, Toby Patterson going through from half, I'm pretty sure on that occasion, linking up with that man, Charlie Walkerton, who went around the back. Oh, no, it was Logan O'Brien, actually, number 30, a youngster. I think he's only 16, finding Charlie for the try. So good try. A lot of the structures, like you mentioned, and I am not the reason for Central Coast success at all. I've been a very pleasant and happy beneficiary of it. As Newcastle set up a quickie play, middle, break short side, the Dolphins there in defence again. But a lot of the structures that we'll see, obviously, from these boys are passed through all age groups up to the Prems team as well.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not a coincidence in touch football that when you have a strong program, whether whatever that division is or division equality. Oh, they're in again. That is sharp. Oh, he scored the touch. Oh, he's saying touched in flight. I thought he was scoring the touch there, the big dive from kind of Jackson, but the Dolphins just cruised through on the back of, as we said, that driving pattern. They just latched on the end and some quick hands, and they cruise over here early and extend that lead to 3. And what I was getting to is it doesn't matter whether it's men's or mixed or women's, that if that program is strong and you have strength in numbers, and the ability to be able to filter that, the processes and, the style, I suppose you call it, that they want to play, it's a lot easier. And you're seeing that with how sharp this Central Coast side is early.
Yeah, definitely. Newcastle, middle, quickie again. Same region, Newcastle and Central Coast. So some similarities as well in the style of play. Great long ball from number 5.
Logan Aoki.
That's a fantastic ball as we're giving Central Coast plenty of raps, but then Newcastle show exactly what they can do. Logan Aoki, he's been around a while. I know he's a really good footy player as well, and shows what he can do there with the right foot step and right to left long ball too.
Yeah, the strength of that, the Hunter region at the moment. Doyleson obviously in the men's, and I know their men's Opens B side are going relatively well in that competition. So Doyleson at full strength. You've got these two clubs. Obviously, you've also got Peninsula. Berkeley Vale only with the one side at the moment, but I know they're doing Daniel Gatt and the team at Berkeley Vale. He dives, he stands him up, and he's over in the corner. Oh, the footwork. Kane Coughlin just stops and just gets to the outside. All he had to do was get the Newcastle defender to plant his feet. And he just dives outside him and gets there. But the strength of these clubs, they're doing some really, really good things up there. And I think the thing that is driving it is that healthy competition, because obviously there's spots in the Hunter Western Hornets, or no longer Hunter Western Hornets, the Hornets area on the coast is obviously there's some serious, jostling for positions in all those regional teams, and they go the quarterback play and they can't get it over the top of that. And you'd know all about that. The Hornets region's so strong at the moment.
Yeah, fair to say touch up there has never been stronger. And there's a few reasons for that. I mean, Dylan Thompson and Carly Banks have had a huge influence on touch in the region, so credit to them. Beresfield and Newcastle are also doing really well in Premier Division, and there's a chance that 4 of the, as we see Central Coast break
down
again.
The touchline, and Kesby, he's got some speed. Oh, Kesby does a little jump over the corflutes at the end of the field, but Kesby, quick hands from the Dolphins, and that's all it took. The Central Coast, the sharpness and the speed of which they're doing things in this drive. We're watching it again here on the phone, but they come this. All it takes is some quick hands, and the defence of the Knights at 6s and 7s, and they extend their lead to 5-1. And if the Knights are not careful, this could get out of control very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think Central Coast are really benefiting from their season in Div 1 at Vorden Cup as well, Nath. Like all these young boys, they're 16, 17, 18 for the most part. As Newey, quickie play again. But, they'll travel up to 2.5 hours on a Friday night to go and play touch. And this is essentially their whole team that's been doing that. So, yeah, you can see their structures have been pretty good. I know they did lose a game yesterday, so Orange got them done yesterday. But Newcastle, I think their team's a bit more of a development side, whereas the Central Coast team are looking to win or be one of the final teams there on Sunday.
It's a Knights dive for the line. As you said, that orange side, we had Joel Bignell in here yesterday, and that orange side must be red hot, because if they're beating a side, as you said, the Div 1, I know they played a few games with nine players as well, which we speak about, commitment and that it's the Vorden Cup, the Sydney, the old Sydney champs it was called, and it's been extended obviously to country affiliates, and it's as you said, it's a Friday afternoon driving down. We obviously have the double headers as well, but the Friday afternoon drive down, everyone knows how good the M1 traffic is on a Friday afternoon. And look at that. Riley Burke, bit of a show and go, and he steps through. And tell you what, they must have got up early, these blokes. I'm lucky to move half as quick as that at any stage of the day. And these blokes are absolutely flying. The speed of which they're doing things, this transition through the box, and we spoke about yesterday. I was speaking to Carly about Dawson and that latch play, and everyone sort of just jumped on the back of. Carly didn't take any credit for that. She wasn't claiming that Dawson were, the owners of that, but it's just everywhere now, isn't it? The latch, and if it's not even about it's developed from the latch play and trying to get the accuracy of it right on the right players to the speed in which clubs are doing it. It's so hard to defend, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the teams that do it well really understand the purpose and what they're trying to do. I think a lot of teams, and it's hard because unless you really know, as Newcastle, 4-on-3, great defense out there. Riley Jones, Australian squad member, is lying down after that fantastic read in defence. The Aussie youth.
I think
member.
He's copped a.
Hopefully, it's just a cork.
I think he has copped a cork. It's either a cork to the side of the leg. He looks to be holding. I'm not sure if he's holding the leg or if he's holding where you don't want to get hit as a male. I think he's up, so I think it's just a cork on the collision as we. I think he's copped the left knee for the Newcastle link there.
Coach Mitchie Walkerton, he's desperate to get in the commentary box actually there, Coach. So I might have to have a chat to you. He's helping Riley off the field.
Yeah, he's a good man, Mitch. He does some great work, and I'm sure he'll love that for you. It's nice to know that people are wanting to be involved here, including yourself, Mark. It's great to have you here. We know you're a busy man, and here they go, the passive play, dummies out the back, and the intercept is taken by the Knights, and the referee, Cooper, says penalty.
Yeah, I was going to say, any keen coaches that are developing, it's quite hard to find resources unless you're, in a club where they're teaching things like the purpose of the latch and stuff like that. Sebi Playster again with that dive. He played Triple C at NYC. Sebastian Playster made his Premier League debut this year at Vorden Cup, and yeah, he's doing real well. He'll be in the next New South Wales 20 squad.
And they've got some space out here, and they look for the winger. They go the cut play, and he's got there. He's dived over in this corner.
Toby Patterson scores that one. Logan O'Brien on the scoop. His second assist of the match as well. Central Coast, going, looking really good here.
They're absolutely flying here, the Dolphins, and it's so important this day too. We traditionally call this moving day, Mark, as you'd be aware, as teams trying to climb the ladder. It's not, we've got only a few divisions in that format where they sort of split into championship, plate and bowl, and spoon and fork and everything else that comes with it. But yeah, traditionally that moving day to be able to climb the ladder. And there's some big contests we got later on today. I know, looking at it, we've got a few big ones coming out. The Women's Open, that's still as open as anything. There's plenty of good games coming on. We spoke yesterday about West. West are in a little bit of trouble in Pool B of the Men's Opens, and they got the Dolphins first up. And we spoke about potential complacency, and that's the time that West can, they're always up, as you said. They don't really give a sucker an even break, that's for sure.
Yeah,
the Magpies, and then you got Bankstown and Penrith, and Bankstown disappointing in their first game with Newcastle, who defeated in the surprise packets of the competition. Probably not for you guys, just the local rivals, and no touch called, and the Knights are in, and referee, if he gets any closer, he's going to take his hat off. Oh, he's got ball down.
Yeah, so he's ruled he's put it down before the line and then lost it as he's gone over the line because Charlie Walkerton, the defensive link, said no touch. So, tough call for Newcastle.
An interesting one there. A bit of momentum for the Knights there. Would have halted with the referee on that. He's almost put it on his shoelaces, and the referee he wouldn't get any closer, that's for sure.
Match of the day, I know we're talking about them a lot, but that 12:05 game between Doylestown and Newcastle today is going to be pretty hard to go past, followed by Penrith versus Parramatta, and I'm only talking about the men's side because obviously that's my point of focus this weekend, but two ripper matches here on the live stream as well, Nate.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Make sure you put your feet up on the lounge. We've already called for the lunch breaks for anyone playing cricket today. They'll be taking it between 12:05 and 1:10. They'll be taking an extended break, I believe. The viewers will be tuning in. We've had a good day yesterday as Newcastle with the coach killer heading towards. And yeah, we finish off a little bit later of the day. For those tuning in, we've got the New South Wales Deaf Touch team playing, and they'll be here live on the stadium at 5:20. So make sure you tune in for that. They're playing the Parramatta men's third sides in the men's Open B. So it's fantastic with Matt Gretch and the team from New South Wales Deaf Touch. It's great to have them here on board, and they had a tough day. I think they took on most of the top teams with their ranking. They took on most of the top teams yesterday. It had a bit of a tough day, the boys, but taking on the Parramatta third side in the men's opens, and a big dive for the line. I think he's got there. Travis Jackson, no, and he throws the ball in disgust. Not happy, Travis, with that decision, but as I said, the game's on and off here at mixed opens and women's opens this afternoon, and at the end of the day, those the tables are changing, and at the end of the day, you want to be at the top like Jack and the Beanstalk, really. So as the Knights go forward and they picked it up, and he's going through, and that Central Coast defence there, good little retreat on the transition, and just allowed him to defend that easily. So they look to get up over halfway and go forward, and that's Playster with the ball, as you said before. He made his Premier League debut.
Yeah, down for that man Placer, and he'll have a whole set. He's so hard to stop in these situations too. He'll be looking to dive, especially touches 2 and 4, or touches 1. You'll see Sebi have a crack at the line. Nothing on there, so recycle. So that's touch 2, and then I wouldn't be surprised if he has another static play to dive again, but they don't set up effectively. Young Jesse Walkerton down now, placed around the back with that dive. There it is, no touch, and call me Nostradamus, but Sebi Placed does it again with that slide dive. That takes Central Coast up now 8-1, and not that they're going through the motions. I think for Newcastle, the rest of this game, like we mentioned earlier, they are a developing team. It's a young program. Their men's premier team is doing fantastically, beat Penrith yesterday. A lot of players in this team will be looking to feed into that Opens team. But here they're just coming up against an experienced Central Coast team. Finals of Vorden Cup Div 1. And if you're playing together all year, you get massive benefit out of it, don't you, Nath?
And then they head to country champs as well, a lot of the youngsters there. And as you said, it's that continuity that you get, and you see a lot of it, like the strength in the men's opens. We refer to that, and even the women's opens. Those teams are at the top. The Canterbury side have been together for a long in the women's opens, and some of the other clubs that are developing. West have started to put a few games together, and they're getting that consistency. And obviously Manly, who have been an absolute powerhouse for a number of years, and they've lost, with Danny moving up north, of course, and they've still been able to just probably not replace her. It's probably not the fair way of putting it, but they've been able to have the next player come in with that, next player in does the job type attitude, and they're absolute powerhouse. And then you go to the Mans, and that's a great hole, and he's got him. It's a good touch. Charlie Walkerton with the touch, but then you go to the men's side of things, as you said, the Central Coast boys, they're young, but they've been playing together for a long time. And especially this, I suppose, with the limited amount of touch with COVID and stuff like that, that continuity is big. The Penrith side, they just keep on keeping on, and that's when you're most dangerous, isn't it? When you've got that continuity and you know what the bloke next to you is thinking without needing to say anything. It's always, a benefit to you. They go at the back and can't handle that now.
So in this division, Nath, we've got Orange, who are going to be right up there, obviously, Central Coast. Who else do you know that are going to be there on Sunday and a team to look out for?
I know Peninsula, they put their side in the men's Div 3, I believe. They won the men's Div 3 comp in the Vorden Cup. I think they had a couple of the more senior players play with them as well, but I know they had a majority, and Mark and the team at Peninsula put him in for that opportunity to develop, and as you said, play together, and they won the competition there. So I think Peninsula are a chance once again, another team on the Hunter. The Hunter, they have their own men's 20s competition by himself. So I think they could potentially spring a couple of upsets, and as you said, I think Orange, knowing the work that Joel Begnan, I think they're the team to beat. So I think in between, the Coast, Orange. And they go, that's a tricky play. And the winger's been caught in, but the referee's calling the
obstruction, is
the
it?
late pass. And I hope it wasn't obstruction. There didn't look to be one there, but the devil eyes in me will see it. And the penalty's there, and they take the and there's a penalty now for off the mark, and 9 minutes on the clock, Mark. Obviously as a coach, you're thinking unless there's a real need for for and against, you're just really looking to kill the clock, wouldn't you? You're really trying to slow it down, or playing devil's advocate of that again. Do you want to keep the momentum, but there's also that part of obviously saving legs as well. So where do you sit on? What side of the fence are you sitting on here with 9.5 to go?
Knowing these boys and this coach, they'll just be looking to get as many highlights on the live stream as possible, because they'll be in the tent straight after this,
having a look,
or they'll watch the Prems, in a couple of games, and they will be screen recording and sending it to all their friends, getting on Insta and any clout they can. So
there's a thing called real time, or are you allowed to? I'm not too tech savvy, so he's missed him.
Sevi
Placer
scores. Again,
yeah. Is that? I know Deacon.
Be real, you mean?
Is that what it's called? Yeah, what did I say?
Real time.
There you go. For anyone out there that wants to create an app, you've got real time if you want to. But that's the same thing, is it? Be real.
Yep.
I've only just turned 30, but I feel like I'm about 65. That sort of comment. So.
And I pretend to be 21, so that's why I know.
We're a great combination up here, a great leveler of the average of age. It levels out well. I've got absolutely no idea. No Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook, and that just about does me.
Stick to your strengths.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Know what you're good at. Oh, that's a good touch on the wing. Riley Jones, as you mentioned before, he's recovered from that cork. Yeah, well, whatever that thing is, real time or be real or whatever. It's I know Deacon, who we had in commentary on debut last night, and I got to feature in that. I'm not sure where that goes or who that goes to. And
yeah, very good. How'd he go on the comms, Deacon Cameron?
Yeah, he was a little nervous, young Deeks. He's only 19 or 20, and that's champagne. I'll tell you what, that'll feature on the highlight reel. That's outstanding play by the Dolphins.
I've just got to give a shout out to Bucko, who scored that one, Liam Buckley, number 63, and his partner in crime, number 34, Riley Burke. They've put on 3 tries between each other. They're middle partners. Riley's actually contracted with the Sydney Roosters and apparently has a pretty handsome player manager. So he's one to look out for in the future, Riley Burke.
Riley Burke, there you go. Keep that name up your hat. He's in the jersey 34, which big fan of. That's when I'm semi-retired at the moment. But that's my playing number, so I'll get behind Riley. I'll support that. Anyone in the jersey 34, you got to get around. They go the passive out the back. He's thrown over the top. And
what's the reason for 34? I wonder if Riley shares that with you.
No. To be completely honest, there was when I first started playing rep touch at Bankstown. I played at Bankstown for a few years, and Keith Rosero, who was president for a long time there and still involved at the club, you could only have like one number, so you couldn't double up on numbers because we had players going up and down divisions. So it was pretty much like you just get to choose. And the numbers that were between 30 and 40, and I just said to Keith that, just pick me a number. I don't really care. And it was 34, and was made famous at within the group, the boys that are no doubt tuning in. I'm getting a few messages as it is, but the boys tuning in a men's 20s game. So it was 10 or so years ago, and I think I'll change the story because don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. I think I was carving up and scoring many tries and setting them up, and
the usual.
There was some opposition spectators giving it to me a little bit and saying on your 34. So the boys, it sort of just stuck from there. I think I've got I played cricket as well, and I've got cricket number of 8 or usually 18, but that's changed to 34 now. So I sort of just stick with it, and as you said, stick with what you know. And it's just there's no real outside of that, mate. The on your 34 still gets a call every now and then at the local comp and whatnot when I'm
very good.
I won't say running around, when I'm jogging around. So what's your playing number, Mark, from back in the day? Give us the John Dory on that.
As we see Newcastle set up the 32 platform middle length dump. Good right to left. Number 11 to the winger out there. We don't have his name, I don't think, accurately put down on our files, but he scored one earlier. As Central Coast box out. My playing number is number 10, and it always was for Central Coast Dolphins. And Jared Rayner-Badior in the Prems team now has adopted that as Kane Coughlin takes off from half. Vaults over number 1 and finds Nathan Holt. Cog is the captain. The big man will be stoked with that effort. And Holty, I think he's played for Central Coast since he was about 6 years old. And both those boys in there last year at 20. So good combination try for them. Number 10, a union player. History in rugby union. So obviously that was my position, 5'8", fly half. And so that kind of came over to touch, and I moved to Australia on the 10th of December. So there's a few little random reasons, but I'm anything but a 10 of 10 touch player or looker or anything like that. No,
Modest. I won't be the one to judge on your looks, that's for sure. I'll leave that to the viewers out there and all your followers on the gram. As they are, so have you got a handle that...
Face for radio, mate, yeah.
I think that's what all the boys say for me, actually. They're happy that there's no cameras in the box here, that's for sure. And the Central Coast boys here just doing it with a bit of ease, and we've just got up the ladder for the men's 20s at the moment. And in the other pool, we've got Wallsend and the Northern Beaches and Hills at the top. So
Wallsend actually won Country Champs men's 20, so very, very worthy of a shout-out. Beaches will be there too. Strong junior program coming through the 20s.
Yeah, the Northern Beaches, that area, the Manly club, 390 teams. They have to open up my sideline in sections and periods of time. They sell out their divisions in about 8 minutes. They tell me the Manly club, it's absolutely gangbusters.
Amazing.
On the Northern Beaches. And Northern Beaches, they're also, I think, just under 200 teams in their junior comp. It's
fantastic.
There's a hunger for touch football in that Northern Beaches area, and it just continues. And there's some serious numbers. I know Ian Carnes from Manly has just recently stepped down as president. He's done many a year there, and the Manly club, they continue just to soldier on and do what they do in Northern Beaches, as you mentioned, and they have their own Battle of the Beaches in the heading into Junior State Cup. But these men's 20s teams that we've got, the ones near at the top, there's some serious talent amongst that. And Wallsend, once again, another team in that region. So there's a big portion. The future of touch football is bright for plenty of these clubs.
Yeah, Dylan Thompson, once again, we mentioned him earlier. He's helping out at Wallsend. Looked like semi-forward pass there as Newcastle trying to get their second try on the board. I'll get back to Dill. Link punish play out there, but Central Coast slide across well in defence. I think the Dolphins boys, like we mentioned, they will go back and watch this and they'll be pretty happy with this performance.
And even now, the defensive scramble, like it's easier to switch off it and they get the turnover. It's easier to switch off with a minute and a half and just make that, I won't say half an effort, but just to switch off and, just sort of be in cruise mode and let that one or two tries in. But it's all about good habits, isn't it? And just getting the momentum in keeping it on. And that defence there was a good example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Plays through again.
Oh, they brought out the trick play and
Newcastle up to the task. So, yeah, just mentioning Wallsend. I think Dylan might be helping them. It's his junior club, and his son obviously is coming through the junior ranks there. So, he's heavily involved. I know he lives right in that area, so they will be tough to beat. Any team with him in the brains trust behind them is going to be difficult to get over.
And no doubt they'll probably have a couple of players with his foot speed, and that will go a long way. He's still, I think it was mentioned yesterday, he's over the age of 30 now and getting up. Well, not getting up there, I won't say that. I won't disrespect him like that. But he's getting older before he gets younger, Dylan. His experience is there, but he's still as quick as ever, that's for sure. And deservedly so. Got himself in the Jubilee mixed open side for his many years of, carving up state of origin level. And international level as well. Like he's done well. And that's the full-time siren you can hear in the background.
Clinical, Nath. Really impressive performance from Central Coast. We did mention that Newcastle are a developing team. I think that's Dean McManus, I think, is one of... They've got some awesome mentors at that club and a really good developing program. So good luck to those boys in the future. I'm sure they'll get plenty out of this whole experience. In Central Coast, like we mentioned, they should be one of those 4 teams we're looking out for tomorrow.
Until then, Mark, I know you've got to get down and go and warm up your boys for the Coast. Good luck today.
No, I'm on with you.
Oh, you're on again?
Yeah.
We're going again, are we? Oh, there we go. We're very organised here this morning. It's been good, but we'll take a short break and we'll be back for the Women's Opens between East and Manly.